What's going on, guys? Mark here and welcome back to the channel. For today I got another keyboard video for you guys. Since my last keyboard video I actually bought a new daily driver. It's the Womier K87. It's a 10 keyless design keyboard, which pretty much means it's a full-size keyboard without the numpad. And I got this primarily because it has dedicated arrow keys and I don't have to press the FN button to get to my question mark anymore. But that's besides the point. It's still a dope looking keyboard. It has this frosty acrylic case, which honestly is more of an attestament to its RGB capabilities. I mean, the lighting just looks amazing on this keyboard. You'll probably see a little bit of it later. But that is not the focus of this video. Actually, the focus of this video is modifying this keyboard. And I'm pretty hyped about it because I have a lot planned for this keyboard. I'm thinking it's going to be like a two-part series where this video is going to be focused more on modifying the case and the keycaps, and then the second video is going to be modifying the key switches, because God knows lubing switches is going to need its own video. But I got everything that I need to carry out the mods that I have planned for today. And the mods that I have planned is to lube the stabilizers, clip the stabilizers, change out the keycaps, and then apply the band-aid mod to the keyboard. I'll be briefly going over the modifications so you guys can see it. But if you want a more in-depth instructional type of video, I'll link some of my resources that I use down in the description box below so you guys can carry out these mods yourself for your keyboards. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into the sound test, and then we can start taking apart the keyboard. Okay, so before we get started with any of the modifications for this keyboard, we obviously have to take off the stock keycaps. I didn't mention this before, but I did get this keyboard with Gateron browns. They're the direct counterpart of the Cherry MX browns. They have the same tactile bump as blues, but not as loud and clicky. Now on a 10 keyless keyboard, you'll normally find 5 stabilizers. They're going to be under your backspace key, your enter key, your left and right shift keys, and your spacebar. I also didn't mention this before, but a cool feature that this keyboard has is that it has a hot swappable PCB. And what that means is I could remove the switches without having to desolder them. To get access to the stabilizers under those specific keys, I needed to remove the switches. I know PCB mounted stabilizers are usually favored because they're more stable, but I like the fact that I didn't really need to take apart my keyboard to be able to take these stabilizers out. There were just these pins that I needed to push in, which allowed me to slide the stabilizers right out of the case. So a stabilizer is made up of 3 parts: a metal bar, a plastic housing, and a center stem. To take apart the stabilizer, you need to twist the metal bar away from the little pocket or track that it sits in and pull the metal bar right out. After that, the center stem should slide right out of the bottom of the plastic housing. Taking a look at the bottom of the center stem, you should find 4 tips, 1 or 2 of which will resemble something similar to a claw. Taking a micro cutter, or in this case I use a nail clipper, clip these claws as close to the base as possible, like so. Per instruction from the great Taya types, I'll be using Teflon Grease to lube the center stem and its plastic housing. You want to apply a moderate amount wherever you know plastic will be touching plastic. I even went ahead and added some to the side of the center stems because I know for sure those will be rubbing against the inside of the center housing. To reassemble the stabilizers, you want to make sure that the side of the center stem that has 2 boxes is facing the same side of the housing that the metal bar sits on. I know that's a little confusing, so hopefully my demonstration is a little more clear than my explanation. If done correctly though, the center stem should be able to slide right through the plastic housing. Next up, we have dielectric grease to lube the ends of the metal bars. You're going to want to coat the ends of the metal bars with a moderate amount of dielectric grease because we'll also be using it to coat the inside of the center stem and the plastic housing. Remember how there were 2 square boxes in the center stem? Make sure you insert the metal bar into the bottom square of the center stem. You know you've done this step correctly because you should be able to control the height of the stem with the metal bar. For the second coat, we're going to follow the same steps that we did for the initial coat, except we're going to add some grease after the right angle on the metal bar. With the second coat on, we can now reinsert the metal bar into the plastic housing and the center stem and twist it back into place. Make sure you repeat these steps for the other side of the metal bar, and you should have the rest of your stabilizers done in no time. Now, stabilizers that are mounted on a plate or on a case typically don't sit as snug as they should. This is usually what makes that rattling sound when you hit the keys with stabilizers. This is easily fixed with a band-aid mod. I used a clear band-aid because I wanted to make sure that the RGB shined completely through, and what I did was I cut rectangular strips out of the sticky ends of the band-aid. Apply these small strips on the top stabilizer insert, and feel free to add more layers if the stabilizer still continues to wiggle even after you had put the band-aid mod on. So you're probably wondering at this point if any of these mods actually make a difference on the stabilizers. Yeah, there's definitely a bit of a difference. For my keycaps, I went with a gradient pink to blue keycap set from Lavalier Keys. I obviously had to go pink and blue to match my PC build, and because of Spider-Gwen. These keycaps are made from PBT and are definitely thicker than the stock keycaps, so I hope they're gonna deaden some of the sound when typing. I also got my first artisan keycap from Cherry Festival on Etsy. It's a full resin keycap with a beautifully designed cherry blossom branch, and this definitely was gonna accent the pink to blue gradient keycap set. And finally, the last step is to install the new keycaps. There you have it, guys. The build's all done. I know it might have been a little bit annoying with all the nuances and the meticulous things you need to be worried about, but I like that kind of stuff, so I thoroughly enjoyed myself. And the keyboard looks amazing. The gradient keycaps look better in person and better than I thought they were gonna look. And as for the modifications on the stabilizers, man, that's a huge improvement from when I first got the keyboard. I can only imagine how it's gonna sound when the switches are all lubed up. Anyway, guys, that about wraps it up for this video. Thanks again for watching. Leave a comment down below if you guys have any questions, what you guys think about the build, what you guys think about the video, just what you guys think. I love feedback. I love it all. Let me know down below. If you found this video helpful, go ahead and like it, and make sure you subscribe and turn on those post notifications because I got part 2 for these modifications coming out soon, and I know you guys are gonna want to hear what the switches sound like when they're finally lubed. Anyway, I'm gonna head to bed because it's late. I'll see you guys in the next one.